Ginga ginga.
Hello everybody, Infernape Shinjo here, and welcome to Let's Talk Anime episode 45. And as always, I have requests given from you guys, so let's just jump into it. So starting off is SSSS Gridman. Although to make it easier on myself, I'm just going to call it Gridman for this part. So when it comes to Gridman, I watched it when it was airing week by week. So it's been a while ago. If I'd have to take a guess, I think it was 2019, at worst late 2018. So it's been a while since I've seen it, so I rewatched a couple of episodes or a couple of clips from the dub just to refresh my memory. So for starters, anybody that's a fan of tokusatsu or anything like that are frothing at the mouth for me to talk about this, because this is basically inspired by it, or at least a revamp of an old property. At least I think it is. I didn't double check my facts before I came into this video, so if anything's wrong, apologies. But for fans of tokusatsu, this would be something that they would like. But even though I'm not familiar with it, I still enjoy it, even if it's honestly kind of forgettable, but I'll get to that later. So for starters, let's start off with Akane Shinjo. She is the one in the purple jacket there, and basically put, she's the villain of the anime. I'm not sure if villain's like the best way to put it, but like basically, she's making these giant kaijus to basically rampage the world, and the whole world is basically everything created by her or something like that. Again, not sure if I got my facts right on it. So it's kind of refreshing, first of all, that there's an anime that I'm watching where the main villain is basically a girl. I mean, she's controlled by like Alexis Carib or some dude, whatever his name is. So technically she's not like the main villain, depending on how you define it. But regardless, she's one of the obstacles the main trio have to overcome. And that's just cool that I'm watching an anime where the main villain is a girl, because it doesn't seem too often. I mean, I guess there are some situations where one of the many villains is a female, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you have Lust. But overall, there aren't many situations that I can think of where I'm watching an anime where the main villain is a girl. Plus, the fact that her name is Shinjo means that she's obviously a great character. I mean that kind of in a joking way, but kind of not really. I mean, it's weird because at the same time, even though she's supposed to be like an antagonist, I still like her character. It reminds me of Nana from Talentless Nana. I'm watching that right now. It reminds me of that, where even though they're supposed to be the villain, you can kind of understand what their mindset is and what they're going through and all that stuff. Plus, and this goes for the whole entire cast, I just like their designs. Obviously, being that Trigger did it, they have good character designs. The artwork is very good. Battle animations are very clean, which just goes to show that Trigger always has to come in to save anime. And the second pro is, I still remember this show to this day. Like, anytime anybody says, oh hey, remember Gridman? It automatically clicks in my head. Although, most of the time it's because I'm thinking of Akane, but still, it's still memorable to me because of Rika and Akane's like apparent relationship or something. Like, after the last few episodes aired, I heard like discussion about like Akane and Rika actually having a romantic relationship. Not sure if that was like subtly hinted at in the anime or if it's just something that people are making up. But that's just something that I remember, for better or worse. But what more can I say? Good character designs, good show overall, even though I'm not familiar with tokusatsu much. It's done by Studio Trigger, which Kill la Kill is also done by Studio Trigger, and I really like that, even though it's kind of dumb. But let's get into the cons with Gridman. And honestly, everything that is a con can basically be lumped into this, so I only have one spot here. The only characters that I remembered from it are Rika Takarada and Akane Shinjo. Everybody else is just like a blur to me. Like, I knew there was a main dude and a giant robot, and there were like and there are like equipments to help him win against stronger enemies or something like that. But like overall, Rika and Shinjo are the only ones that I remembered. And like I was watching through the clips of it, just trying to refresh my memory. And I remembered that there was a second male with the cast, but to be quite honest, I didn't remember anything about him. Even now, I can't even remember his name. I know that he's voiced by Greg Ayers, just from what I watched from the dub. But for the life of me, I can't remember his name. Just from watching the clips, I remember the main character is Yuto, which is funny because there's also a Yuto in Arc 5. But at the end of the day, everything in the cons that I could even say just boils down to I don't remember anything about it much. All I remember are Rika and Akane, which that might just be boiled down to seasonal anime, because seasonal anime are meant to stick with your head for a couple of weeks after they're finished, but then just fade away, which is kind of unfortunate because there are a lot of good anime that come out even to this day, so it's unfortunate that some of it might just get forgotten by people. But that's basically all my thoughts on Gridman. Honestly, I remembered some of the anime, but I didn't remember everything, but I basically got the gist of everything. Obviously, I'm not going to go super in-depth because, first of all, spoilers, and second of all, if I do, this video is going to be so long, and third of all, I'd have to go and watch through the whole show again, and I don't want to do that. So, let's just go on to the next thing. Wait, that went wrong. Let's bring it back. Let's go on to the next thing. Darwin's game. I'm leaving that mistake in, just for fun. Now, this would be a good part to mention that there are a lot of requests that were given to me on stream and videos. So, a lot of these are going to be, like, mixed up a bit. Like, technically, this should be on another video. But it all just boiled down to what I had time to watch and what I didn't have time to watch. I watched this last night before I went to bed, but I was falling asleep by the time I was finished with this, so I just figured I'll just record this and have another video discussing other stuff later. All that doesn't matter to you, but whatever. So, the only thing that I know about Darwin's game is that I think Gigok made fun of it in one of his seasonal anime videos. Like Banda, the mascot character, running trying to promote Raid Shadow Legends or something like that. If you want context on what I'm talking about, I can leave the video in the description if I find it for myself, but I'm not going to put like a thing in because that's too much effort for me. But that's really all that I know about it. I know that it's supposed to be like super dark and edgy, which I watched the first episode, almost an hour long. I can agree with that. So even though, for the most part, from what I hear about people, they mostly badmouth this show just because it's super dark and edgy and all that, I'm going to try and make those go out of my head. I'm going to try to do this in my own mindset and my own opinion on it because it's hard to do at the same time, but I'm going to try and make it so other people's opinions don't sway me on an anime. It's going to take a lot of effort to do that, so if I slip up, then I'm going to try my best to make this my own opinion. So to start, the first few minutes was honestly really good in my opinion. It's a nice way to build up suspense because you don't know what is happening at the moment unless you read the description of the show. So those first few minutes just threw me off guard. Especially when Banda can't even be seen at the moment and all you can see is like an outline. That's just super interesting because, like I said, it builds suspense. And the second thing, and I'm not sure if anybody that's watched Darwin's game caught on to this, but I like that Banda, the mascot that was chasing after, what's his name, Kaname? Yeah, that's his name. I like how the bear had the number 666 on his back. Because, like, the whole, I don't want to say stereotype, I guess stereotype, of 666 being the number of the devil or something like that. They're doing that a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s as well. But, like, I like that little touch about the bear having the number 666 on his back. And the next thing that I liked, and I'm jumping a bit further into the episode discussing this, but, like, when Kaname gets into Darwin's game and fights off Panda Boy, I like where he's just at home and just says, okay, I'm going to do a gacha pull. And he gets a gun and just, it shows up at his door. I just like his reaction to that. It's just like, oh, the gun's here. And like, I guess I should have mentioned for context that I watched the dub of this, and I don't know who does Kaname's voice. I wanted to check last night, but again, I was starting to fall asleep. Not because of the show, but I was just falling asleep overall. So I didn't get a chance to look up who does Kaname's voice in the dub. And I'll do the same when I get to Shuko. I'll check on her voice, because I think she might be Sarah Winderheft. It sounds like her, at least. If anything, maybe Monica Rial. But like, Kaname's voice is just so, I guess, boring outside of that gun scene. Because it's just like, he's basically an everyman. He's just there to fill in the spot for the person watching it. And I guess, as I mentioned it earlier, let me jump over to Shuko. When Kaname is going to meet Shuko in the last maybe 15-20 minutes of the episode, I liked the music that was playing. I don't know what it was. It just had a cool vibe to it, and I was really jamming to it. And like I said earlier, I think that the person that does Shuko did a good job with the performance. Like I said, I think it's either Monica Rial or Sarah Winderheft. It sounds a bit like Toru from Dragon Maid, but I'm not sure. Again, I'll put it on the screen when I find out. And the last pro that I can say about it is the concept of it reminds me of Madoka Magicus. Or even Magical Girl Raising Project to an extent. They're both the same idea. I like the idea of you just finding a game and you're just unwittingly involved in it. Kind of like Madoka Magica and Magical Girl Raising Project. Not sure if it's going to reach the hypes of those two shows, at least in my opinion. But, I don't know. It was fun. So overall, I would say, just from the first episode, I would say it's a pretty mid-tier show. Obviously, I can't really give a full scope of what I think about it until I watch everything. But from what I've seen from the first episode, it's not bad, but I do have some criticisms with it. First one, and this was the one that bugged me so much. Why is Kaname so dumb? Because it's just like, his friend is just seeing him with the phone in his hand with Darwin's game, and his friend says, oh, don't touch that game. Touch that game? Okay. Seriously, dude. He just, either he doesn't give a crap or he's sadistic or something like that. Honestly, I think he might actually be brain dead at times, because it's just like, don't get involved in the game. And he gets involved in the game. Now, the only logic that I could have to make it so it actually makes sense is it might be a case of doing something when somebody tells you not to. Because, like, for example, if I told you not to hit that like button, it would make you want to hit that like button. Little bit of shameless self-promotion, I know, but still. But, like, I'm not sure if there are actual studies, but I know there's, like, some brain thing that goes on when somebody tells you to not do something, it makes you want to do it more. They touched on it in an episode of Ed Netty. Why am I referencing Ed Netty in Let's Talk Anime? I don't know. And the last thing that I can say that's positively a con, unless they manage to kind of redeem it in the next episode, which I'm not going to see anyway, like, the ending of the episode. Like, Kaname is unconscious, he wakes up, and then Shuko is just there saying, hey, let's make babies. It's just like, what? I mean, at the same time, it's probably just one of those ploys to make you want to watch episode 2 to find out what's going on. But that just, like, confused the heck out of me. Like, it's not anything too drastic. I would say it made the show change from a 6 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10 for me. But, like, it's just one of those things where, how old is Shuko? She's probably like 15, and that just makes things super awkward and weird. But overall, it's not a bad show, but at the same time, it's probably not going to be something that I continue. Because, like, even though the chase scene with Band of the Bear was kind of cool, I don't do well with horror or anything like that. Like, I'm very squeamish, so even watching through the episode with all the blood spewing everywhere was just kind of a bit of a no-no for me. But at the same time, I know I had to watch it for this series, so I figured I'd brave through it. So to simply put it, I'm not going to continue this because I'm a big baby. But like I mentioned earlier, I had to move things around because I didn't have enough time to watch enough anime for this video when I record it, so you're going to be treated to another one of Shinjo's requests. So let's see, what do we got on the plate today? Today we have, is the order a rabbit? And yes, that pun was intentional. So I hope that I haven't discussed this anime yet. I don't think I have, but if I have, then I'm discussing it again anyway. So basically, this anime, and actually I didn't know this until a little bit later, like everybody's name is based off of coffee, I think. Like there's one girl that's named Coco, there's one that's named Chino, there's one that's called Chio, I don't remember. There's two characters that have similar names. It's kind of confusing. But I think like everybody's name is based off of a food or a coffee or something. Like Coco, obviously. Chino from Cappuccino. I could go on from there, but I don't remember everybody's names. But basically, you got Coco, the girl in pink in the front, that goes to a restaurant from somewhere else that's not her hometown. I can't remember where. And she works there with Rize, the one with purple hair with the pigtails, and Chino, the other one at the front. And there are a whole bunch of other characters, as you can see, and they're just random shenanigans. And like, honestly, like I grouped this in pros and cons, but I'm just gonna go ham with whatever I talk about. Because at the same time, I'm supposed to be like convincing you to watch this, although I'm probably not gonna do that good of a job. But basically put, the big selling point that I'm gonna give for this, if you like cute anime girls, watch this show. That's the biggest selling point that I have for it. If you like cute anime girls just goofing around doing anything, like, I don't want to compare too hard, but I would say if you like K-On!, you probably like this. It's, in my opinion, not as good as K-On!, because K-On! Gets a chance to develop the characters and have a satisfying conclusion, but this show is just something to turn your brain off to. And with a year like 2020, I need something to turn my brain off to. And like, I'll just briefly go over the characters. So Coco is basically the dumb character. Like, she's a nice balance of funny and stupid. Like, there's a new season going on right now. I'm gonna try and force myself not to say like. I've noticed I said it a couple of times. But Coco is one of those characters that strikes a balance of funny and stupid. And there's the new season going on right now, which might be finished by the time this video comes out. But they're up to 3 seasons now. And I watched the first 2 seasons back to back maybe 2 years ago. And for the life of me, I couldn't remember anything that happened with the show. I knew of some characters briefly, but I didn't remember a lot. But watching Coco in this new season is honestly fun because she has legitimate moments that make me laugh, even though they're just kind of weird. Because like, the thing with Coco is she wants to be the bigger sister, the One-san, to Chino. Which is kind of weird because I think they're like maybe 2 or 3 years apart, something like that. But then you get Rize, whose whole shtick is that she has a gun, from what I remember. Then Sharo likes Rize, but she doesn't like to admit it for whatever reason. And I guess that's Chio over there on the left. Yeah, she's just kind of out there. Like, she wanted to go to a haunted house in an episode of season 3, and she seemed like she was really enjoying it. I don't know, it's kind of strange. Then the 2 girls in the back, the 2 younger girls, they go to the same school as Chino, and to be quite honest, I don't remember their names. I think one of them is Mana? Not Mana. It's something like that. It's a name that's 4 letters long that has 2 A's in it, I think. I don't remember. You don't care about the name, and I don't care about the name either. But basically, this show is, like I said, shenanigans. At the same time, it's kind of forgettable, but like I said earlier with seasonal anime, it might be just because I watched the first 2 seasons so close together that by the time this new season came out, I couldn't remember anything about it much. But watching through this new season is honestly not bad. The show's actually good. I don't know what I gave the first 2 seasons on Mao. I would say maybe a 6 out of 10. Maybe if I'm feeling really generous, a 7. But like overall, it's a fine show. It's not gonna be anything that wins any big awards or anything. But it's just a fun show, and if you like cute anime girls, then you might enjoy this show. This is just an anime that I wanted to discuss because, To my knowledge, I haven't discussed it on my channel yet, and I had to think of something to discuss for this third spot, and this is the first thing that came to my mind. But that is going to be it for this episode of Let's Talk Anime. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you haven't yet. If you have any suggestions for Let's Talk Anime, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll get to them when I have a chance. Now I'm gonna fade to black for real this time, so until then, Momentai.